It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm your humble host, Kevin Keatsman, host of the Kevin Keatsman Has Issues podcast. I must have had 10 people say to me this weekend, an hour is not enough on the radio, an hour is not enough. When it's over, go to Kevin Keatsman Has Issues and listen to the podcast. It's up daily every single day. It is different topics than the radio show, so nothing really gets repeated. Sometimes a couple big stories or something will overlap, like maybe the Chiefs, some references to a Chiefs game or something like that. But anytime you want more of what you hear at 10 o'clock every day, go to kkhasissues.com. Very simple stuff. Check it out. Don't forget, tomorrow is Election Day, and my inbox is filled with people. Who should I vote for? There's all kinds of people on the ballot that are not Republican or Democrat. It's one of the biggest travesties in elections that we actually vote for people with no affiliation. The Democrats do that on purpose. They try to confuse you. It helps them win elections. The Republicans in Kansas and Missouri need to get with it at every single area. Well, if you pass a state law, that's that. So even for like your city council in your municipality, it should say whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. I don't care. You can call yourself whatever you want. You can call yourself a libertarian or socialist or communist if you're Mom Donnie, but you got to declare something. And if you want to say independent, fine, but it would be very helpful on some of these way down ballot things we're voting on tomorrow to know who we're voting for. If you don't have that, go to your county's GOP website. Just Google it. Wherever you live, your county, in all likelihood, has a GOP party website, and there should be a voter guide on there for you, for Republicans or conservatives or whatever it may be, to help you out. And do not hesitate to print that thing out and take it right with you to the polls. It's exactly what I do. I don't know who some of these people are running for these things. You kidding me? I just want to know how you line up politically. It's really, really, really hard work to go into elections like right now and know everything that's going to be on your ballot. That's a lot of work. So go get your cheat sheet. It's typically at your county website for your GOP, the GOP party. And you just have to Google search whatever it is. Like I'm in Johnson County, so it's Johnson County Republicans of jcrpks.gov.org. It's Johnson County Republican Party, Kansas.org, but it's abbreviated, the first letter of each. But it's right there. There's a voter guide. So go check it out and do your thing. A lot of people say, I don't want to vote on who to vote for, I don't know what's going on. It's easy. If you can go find the website and get a cheat sheet, go ahead and do it. There won't be any long lines or anything like that. Oh, the Chiefs got trounced. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. We will get to that a little bit later in the show. Folks, the headline here really isn't about the Chiefs. I heard some people with a takeaway, and I got a buddy who just, when sports goes bad for one of his teams, he just hates on all of it. Like, I mean, just falls apart like, spaghetti falling off a fork, just down onto the plate. Everything's just awful. No Mahomes magic. No, I'm like, no Mahomes magic. The dude converted a 4th and 17 on a play that was an actual called play. I don't know if you watched it closely enough to see how the protection was designed to buy enough time to throw it downfield. It looked a lot like Wasp, but wasn't exactly Wasp. It was a great play, and it worked. Pretty magical. The Chiefs just got obliterated yesterday, folks, in every phase of that game for one reason only. I'll bet I watched 2/3 of the Buffalo Bills game since Josh Allen became quarterback. That's the best game they've ever played. That is the best game. They're saying it at Arrowhead right now. The coaches know it. The players know it. That's the best game. Better than any of the playoff games. That's the best game the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen have ever played. And we kind of felt it coming. We talked about it last week. Like, they will play great. This is their Super Bowl. There's a lot to play for, and yesterday has nothing to do with any of it. If you don't think the Chiefs could go back there in January and beat them in the playoffs, then you don't understand how championship sports are won. There was no pressure on Buffalo yesterday. It's the regular season. They feel like they're going to win their division. This is our chance to get the Chiefs. Chiefs used to do this stuff all the time. They used to beat great teams all the time and go nowhere in the playoffs. That's been the Bills. Now, I'll tell you this. I am shocked when you watch the Bills' A game. It might be better than the Chiefs' A game. It just may be. I mean, they're impossible. That was an impossible assignment yesterday. There was no beating them yesterday. But what happens when the postseason comes around? They'll be nervous. They haven't gotten it done. All they think about is the times that they failed, 13 seconds, all the different things. Sports is weird, man. Sports is weird. And I'm willing to say it. I saw it in Chris Jones's eyes a couple times yesterday and some other players. Chiefs played hard. They didn't want that game nearly as bad as Buffalo wanted it. Come on, let's just be real, okay? So what happened? Get to the playoffs, which the Chiefs are not in currently. They're currently out of the playoffs. They need to go 6-2 in their last 8. The schedule gets soft. They could probably get in at 5-3. They should be able to do that. There's no reason to believe the Chiefs aren't a good team, and there's no reason to believe if they're healthy that they don't play great in January. We know they can win on the road and get there. So don't panic over yesterday's game. Also, a little bit later, coming up at 10:30, we'll talk about Trump and, well, briefly on this, but Trump went on 60 Minutes, and he went on 60 Minutes for a reason. And he talked about a lot of things, but for a lot of people, the headline here is he just looked Norah O'Donnell right in the eye and said, yeah, we haven't gone far enough on immigration. She's like, well, are you okay with what ICE has done so far? No, said President Trump. They haven't done enough. He wants more, and so do I. So I'm all in on that. But we start with this. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, just had another one of his clown car news conferences, and he gave out some facts, and they were all correct. And this is a Democrat shutdown, and we all know that, but who cares? It's just going on and on and on. Apparently there was some sort of an internal poll at the White House this weekend of the staff, and they asked, would the shutdown continue 10 days, less than 10 days, or more than 10 days? And the entire staff, they polled 30-some people, I guess, on the staff, and every single one of them said less than 10 days. So that tells me that the White House believes that the Democrats are doing this through the election, that they want to run it through this week, that they're ginning up votes with all their communist friends to get out and vote for some of these wacky candidates that are running and do whatever they can through Tuesday. Remember, the Democrats don't really care about you or me or anyone. They care about Election Day. It's their Christmas every year. For Democrats, for atheists, Election Day is their Christmas day. So I guess we got to respect them for what they are. That's all they care about. And it's believed now that by at least the folks in the White House that this thing will not go on 10 more days. But we've been hearing a lot about the SNAP program. And this weekend, the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins, went on television and did an interview. And she said thousands and thousands of illegals have already been kicked out of the program. Well, it's not a giant number. It's not in the tens of thousands, I don't think. It might be in the tens of thousands, but it's not in the hundreds of thousands. She said that the program grew 40% under Biden. That means illegals. The number of illegals that are receiving aid through SNAP grew by 40% under Joe Biden. She said they sent out a letter with DOJ in the beginning to every state saying, we need you to comply. If you have an illegal on the SNAP rolls, we need to know who they are right now. You must tell us. Only 29 states have complied. Obviously, places like California, Massachusetts, New York, they're not going to comply. Those states are suing the federal government, the Trump administration, for taking SNAP benefits away from illegal aliens. There's a $5 billion reserve that's not being used. Trump administration is acting like it's sort of politics. Oh, it might be illegal. We're not sure we can do that. So the second Trump said that, some judges, liberal judges, jumped up and said, no, we'll make it legal. It's legal. It's legal. Just go ahead and pay it. We'll say it's legal in our court. Pay it out. And then, once the money's gone, it's gone. Well, Trump's not doing that. So I've just been asking the question, why did it take a government shutdown for us to see all this fraud in the SNAP program? I thought DOJ was on all this from day one. How did DOJ miss SNAP? I mean, they did a little bit here. They said since January they've found 5,000 dead people receiving money. That helps. It's pathetic that there's 5,000 dead people that, they have these debit cards. They just get auto-renewed every month. And if you don't find out somebody's dead, then whoever their survivor is just keeps using it. So they found one guy who was getting EBT cards in 6 different states. He was getting 6 times the normal amount. So they found some people, but it's not good enough. California in 2022 had 273,000 non-citizens. Well, that number's got to be 400,000 now. That was 3 years ago. New York was 218,000. That's got to be close to 400,000 or 500,000. Florida was 238, but Ron DeSantis has cleared the rolls. So it just depends on the states. And this has all just been going on. They claim they've reduced the entire rolls of 42 million down by 700,000. That sounds great, but that's nothing. We need to cut like 20 million people out of this thing. There's no way. This is not sustainable. We talk about Social Security and Medicare all the time. You don't give 42 million people free food cards, and then they go buy a Hostess Ho-Hos and cigarettes. You don't do it. You can't do it. That's the most un-American thing there is. We can have a heart and do right by people who really need it, but this country was founded on a very simple principle. You get what you earn, and you earn what you get. And just handing stuff to people has evolved over the last 75 to 100 years in a really, really bad cycle that's hurt America. It's hurt. Imagine what our economy would be. We're the best in the world. But imagine what it would be if we actually took care of business at the government level. If we just took care of people that were like starving or dying, like the whole program is just in place for if you're starving. I saw a thing this weekend. It was great. It was somebody on Twitter. There's something called a Nutraloaf. You guys, Mark, you ever heard of a Nutraloaf?
No.
Okay. It looks like a cat food pate thing, right? And it's about the size of your fist, apparently. And you can eat it with your hand. It doesn't crumble. You can pull a bite off and eat it with your hand. You don't need utensils. You don't need a plate. These things are cheap. They're filled with vegetables and protein and all kinds of things that keep you healthy. You will have regular bowel movements. They hydrate you. There's water in them. There's every nutritional thing you could possibly want. They taste like your dog's dirty tail. I'll be nice here today, okay? They don't taste great. That's what we ought to be giving away with Snap.
Yeah, I was thinking that probably wouldn't taste good, but it's healthy.
It's not only healthy, it's nutritious, and it keeps you alive, and it hydrates you. And it gives you regular bowel movements. It's everything a human being could possibly need to stay alive. Dump the cards. Let's start handing out cards for Nutraloafs. And let's see how many people say they're going hungry. Let's just try it for like a month. Your EBT card is good at the store for all the Nutraloaf you want. And that's it. Nutraloaf for a month. How many of the 42 million people do you think would try one Nutraloaf and never eat it again and say, you know what, I'm good here? It might end the program. I just don't believe these people are starving. I just don't. And it's become like the headline story of the government shutdown. Nutraloaf for all. That's what we should be running on. Forget Mom Donnie. He wants to give free grocery stores to everyone. No, Nutraloaf for all should be the new mantra from the GOP. 913-408-7957. It's 408-7957 if you'd like to join the show. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Welcome back to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. You didn't think you were going to get a lesson on Nutraloaf today, did you? Oh, yeah. That'll end the SNAP program in a hurry. 42 million people will find jobs everywhere. Everywhere. Feed them Nutraloaf. Stu is joining us. He seems to know about this food. Hello, Stu. How are you?
Well, hello, Kevin. I know a little bit about it. I'm sure you have members of your audience who have greater expertise in the prison system than I do, but I understand that's sounds to me like what I know is served in many prisons, and I don't think they call it Nutraloaf. They just call it loaf, or it may have some other more, colorful names.
Yeah, it's referred to by many as prison loaf. When a prisoner is bad, they don't give them the regular food. They feed them Nutraloaf until they behave.
Well, I think sometimes you don't have to. You just have to be a prisoner. It's not a matter of your behavior.
Maybe. You're probably right in some places, but it is also basically a punishment. Like you're on Nutraloaf for now, and if you don't straighten up, you're not ever going to get, whatever kind of meat and mashed potatoes will serve you. You don't get that because you can eat it with your hand, everything else, just slide it under the deal. The point is this. SNAP was
having the big iron bars slammed shut on you is not, punishment enough.
Right. Well, it's not enough for some people.
Well, it's supposed to be corrections, not punishment, but that's another matter.
No, you have absolutely gotten to the bottom of it. You're correct, and SNAP should be corrections as well.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, why not, why stop at prison loaf? And why not just go ahead and feed them Soylent Green?
I don't know. What is that exactly?
What is Soylent Green?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. You're culturally deprived. You're seriously culturally deprived.
I mean, soil like
you don't
dirt?
know what Soylent Green is.
I've never heard that term. I've never heard the term.
You never saw the movie? You never heard
what
Charlton
movie?
Heston declare Soylent Green is people?
No.
Oh, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
Well, you have a computer in your hand.
I'll get right on it.
Yeah. Or somebody will call in and explain it to you, but I'm surprised.
Well, be surprised. I'm sorry.
Because Soylent Green is part of our pop culture. And, I mean, it's like Catch-22. You should know what it means.
Stu,
I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said Catch-22, and they said, huh?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of people that say huh to that. I don't know what show that's from, but I remember there was I know what a Catch-22 is. Sorry, Linda's in the Northland. Go ahead, Linda.
Oh, my God, I'm still screaming about Soylent Green. Oh, my God, I couldn't. You're not old enough. You're not old enough for this story. In the 70s, I lived with a girl who was a social worker, and it was back when there was Wayne Minor. Are you old enough for Wayne Minor?
I guess. Tell me.
It's a housing development.
Okay.
Anyway, back then, there wasn't food stamps. She actually carried food. She gave them sacks of food. And I came home one night, and we've got a whole bunch of acorn squash. I'm going, why do we have all this acorn squash? She said, the people won't take it. They don't want it. I said, I love acorn squash. I said, how about if I write up the recipe? Do you think they'd take it if we gave them a recipe with it? And she tried that, and they wouldn't accept it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, real food. Good food.
Real food. They're not going to eat it.
They're not going to eat it. But the other thing is they take the food stamp thingy, and there was a guy I saw online last night, and he was saying when he was a kid, he would take a stamp, he'd go down to the store, he'd buy a pack of gum, they'd give him 75 cents, and he'd do it over and over and over again until he had enough money to go skating. That's what they do. That's what they do. They trade the stamps to their friends, and they buy other things.
Linda, you're awesome.
Money.
Thank you for your stories. Thank you so much. I love your energy and your enthusiasm. I have no idea what's happened to the show today. I apologize to everyone listening. Back to the phones we go. I'm sorry, what's the caller's next? David's in Overland Park. Hi, David.
Hey, Soylent Green is one of the best movies ever. Kevin, you got to see it. I can't believe you're not familiar with that reference. It's a great conservative movie, too, because a lot of the predictions that the movie makes are all these liberal, dystopian things, none of which have come true. Like we call it global warming. Back then, they called it ecology and they called it the greenhouse effect.
Yeah,
is back what they called it then. Here we are. Now. Plus, it's got Charlton Heston in it.
Okay,
he's the protagonist. He's the one who at the end.
I appreciate it. I'll check it out. I appreciate the call. I'll check it out. I thought for a second, Soylent Green's not in the 10 Commandments, is it? I'm like, wait a second. I was like, what am I missing here?
That too.
I know. I'm like, I'm in real trouble here. It's in the 10 Commandments, and I missed it. Look, give them Nutraloaf. They'll hate it, and they'll want to get a job to eat real food. It's no more complicated than that. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. So one of the real rushes of doing live radio is there's no net, and you can make a mistake at any time, and something really weird or bad can happen. And the worst feeling is, it only happened to me once, but it's happened to most people that have done the talk format at some point. You mention somebody you think is alive, but they're dead. It happens. It could be an actor. It could be something completely obscure, but it's the worst feeling ever. You're like, oh, I didn't know that person died. That's, terrible, whatever. But this was close a little while ago. When they started talking about Soylent Green and Charlton Heston, all I could think of, Mark, was the 10 Commandments. I'm like, wait a second. Am I in trouble with every Christian listening right now? Did I miss something in the 10 Commandments here with Soylent Green?
I mean, I've seen the 10 Commandments. I've never seen Soylent Green.
Right.
I don't know.
And I've read the 10 Commandments. I've read them. I don't remember it. I'm sorry. I don't know that movie. John, of course, knows every movie and every band and everything that's ever happened since we've all been alive. And he knows immediately what it was, but he says it's not been relevant, nor has anybody spoken about it since the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, which is
That's
not.
why I was confused, I
It's
guess.
not exactly last week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just fantastic. So I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, all I'm thinking in my head is, oh man, did I just miss something biblical here? Woo, boy, that would not have been good. But it's okay. We're getting the show back on track now, folks. I did want to take a couple of minutes to reference Donald Trump, who was promoted throughout the Chiefs-Bills game all day yesterday for a sit-down with 60 Minutes. This was not some rando interview. As you know, CBS is owned by a new company called Skydance. Skydance, the CEO is Larry Ellison's son. I believe his name is David. Larry Ellison is the founder of Oracle. Larry Ellison was at the White House a few months ago with all the big CEOs with Trump. He's a conservative. He runs Oracle. Oracle's a big employer here in Kansas City as well. And so Oracle's Larry Ellison's son puts this bid in. They've got all this money, and they buy Paramount, Global, CBS, whatever, and turn it into something called Skydance. So they own CBS News. You've probably heard me at one point or another on this show say, I think it would be great. I think one of the single biggest things that could happen in media in America is for 60 Minutes to get back to what they once were. 60 Minutes used to be one of those shows that if they investigated you and caught you, you were done. Whether you were the CEO of Enron, the president of the United States, a state senator in Illinois, it didn't matter. If they were coming after you and they found you, it was investigative journalism at its finest. And when they got real people on and they cut their teeth through the years with interviews with, Henry Kissinger and people of that ilk about global affairs, and people would goof up in interviews. Politicians, by the way, are much more polished today. They're much better at media than used to be. If you did a sit down with CBS, it generally speaking was not good. You either needed to get your poll numbers up, you needed to do something. It was relevant. It became a tool of the left over the last couple decades, and that's all it was. It was just like everything else in mainstream media. Trump going on there, I'm going to guess, this is more than an educated guess, 99.9% chance he got an assurance from the Ellisons that he would be treated fairly, that 60 Minutes is changing, that CBS News is changing. This thing was promoted during a football game where over 30 million people will have watched. More than that worldwide because it's streamed on Paramount Plus. So it goes all over the world. A lot of people around the world were watching the Chiefs and Bills yesterday. So there's all these Trump promos over and over and over, and he is the gap between the highest rated game of the year, the Chiefs-Bills, and Sunday Night Football. This is absolute television brilliance in marketing and strategy and ratings and all those things, and he knew that. This wasn't an accident, and it felt big. It felt different. It's not him sitting there with Sean Hannity, where Sean's reading him his checklist of 27 talking points, and Trump gets to nod his head and go, yes. It's not that. Okay, it wasn't one of those things. There's a lot of different ways you can do these interviews, and this particular one, this wasn't the gaggle on Air Force One, which is kind of funny and flippant and all those things. This was real, and she asked real questions, and Trump gave real answers. My favorite part was when he was asked about Taiwan. How do you know China's not going to, affect or invade Taiwan? And Trump's like, well, they're not going to. How do you know? He says, well, I know because Xi knows what the consequences are. How does he know? He goes, well, I'll tell you how he knows. He didn't even bring it up when we talked. He knows. And then she says, well, what exactly did you tell him? And he's like, you're a reporter. I'm not going to tell you what I told Xi. I've got a policy. He knows my policy. End of conversation. Don't worry about Taiwan. These people can't believe it. Now, she was fair through almost all of this. The one that's getting most of the headlines is what led us off on the government shutdown and things we were talking about in the first half hour today. But then she asked about ICE. And she's like, are you okay with what ICE is doing? He said, no, I'm not. I want them to do more. He's putting Border Patrol people in charge of ICE. They're going to just start picking people up that don't belong here. And we've got to get rid of some of these people. We have to create jobs for Americans. We have to recreate a culture where you're more dignified to go work somewhere for a day, even if it's day labor, and have money to go to the grocery store and buy your own damn food than to be 42 million strong waiting on an EBT card filled up by the government every month. We have to change the culture of what we are as a country. It's the right thing to do, not just for all taxpayers and American citizens. It's the right thing to do for the people that are reliant on the government. And yes, we can laugh about Nutraloaf, and it's an extreme example, but honestly, if the program is put into place just to keep starving people from dying, Nutraloaf's the answer. The bottom line is it is. 42 million people would not eat Nutraloaf. They'd be off the EBT cards so fast they wouldn't even want them. They'd decline them. They would just decline them. And the program would shrink. The point is, we're talking about within SNAP, let's regulate what you can get. Fruits, vegetables, eggs, dairy, things that are healthy. Seriously, we ought to be able to come up with a list of 50 items only. 50 things only that you can buy with EBT cards. If we did that, I think people would bail out of the program. I do. There would be some things that they'd like, but they're not going to go in and buy broccoli. A whole bunch of people aren't going to go buy broccoli. Let's do it. Let's load them up with all the things that are really good for you, and that's it. 50 items. Here it is. Knock yourself out and watch what happens to those cards. Doesn't have to be Nutraloaf. We know what's going on, and we know how many of these people are illegal, but Trump was awesome in this interview, and it was not a coincidence that it was after the Chiefs-Bills game. I'm going to guess this has been in the works for a while. And you may laugh and say old media or legacy media don't matter, but the fact of the matter is, I think the last study was something like 30% of the people in America are on X or social media. A majority of people in America are not on social media, but they have access to 60 Minutes. And some people watch it religiously, even though it's been liberal. And it changing and it playing it fair to Trump and him sitting down is a giant statement that 60 Minutes is changing course. This is good for America. And if Trump screws up, they should be there to pounce on him. Okay? I'm not saying they should be sitting here, oh, Trump's the best. That's not what I'm looking for out of any of these news organizations. Just play it real. The biggest complaint conservatives have about Fox News is what? Oh, they're sellouts. They called that Arizona election early. They did this. Oh, no, they're not real conservatives. No, but they are pretty fair and balanced. Yes, of course they lean right. But when the bad news piles up for Republicans, they're on it. They don't avoid it. We've seen it. When there's turmoil, when things happen, when things are bad, they're there to report it. That's what we need. We need trust in media again. All media. Yes, younger people are coming along, and someday 60 Minutes will be no more. But that was 60 Minutes at its finest on Sunday. And it was calculated by Trump. I know there was an assurance that it would be fair. It was not, certainly was not some puff piece for Trump. It wasn't. But it wasn't just, hey, this rotten president's running our country into the ground and listen to this about ICE. They interviewed him. They let him say his point, and they let people decide on their own. And that's as good as it gets. We need more of that when it comes to mass media. And yes, that was mass media. They probably had still they might have had 20 million viewers for 60 Minutes. I'm going to guess that episode of 60 Minutes is the highest rated television show this week that's not a football game. It'll be the highest rated thing on television that's not football. And that's a good thing. And that was a good move by Trump. And America needed to hear him say, we haven't gone far enough with ICE. And you know what most people watching were doing? They were pounding their chairs going, hell yeah. I'm with you. Even if you don't like him, you're thinking, I want to like this guy. Because it's all just so common sense. And he did it. ICE raids have not gone far enough. Just fantastic. He is getting a lot of headwind on his idea to dump the filibuster and move on and reopen the government. And then he's teasing voter ID, which is enough to sway me. You know, if you think you can get voter ID passed because you've gotten rid of the filibuster, great. Let's do it. Let's do it nationally. Even if we have to separate elections to where we have a national election, which would be president, Senate, and Congress only, representatives only. I'm okay with that. But let's make those real. Let's not, continue to allow California to have 300,000 illegal aliens vote. You just can't do it that way. I think he's right in this regard. I think when the Democrats get it back, and they will at some point, they're going to blow the filibuster up anyway. What he's saying is, let's go on offense. I mentioned this last week. J.D. Vance said this in his Q&A at Ole Miss. He said this, and I don't know whether this is J.D. talking to Trump about this and guiding him or people behind him or whatever, or whether this is Trump leading the charge. I don't know that. But Vance said it very plainly at Ole Miss last week. We are done playing defense with these people. Because if you can think of it, they're going to do it anyway. So it might as well be us. There are no repercussions. We'll see. I've never been for it. I've never been for it, but I think Trump is absolutely right. I think the next chance they get, they're going to be like, we couldn't stop the Republicans. We couldn't stop Trump. We impeached him. He got shot at. I mean, everything was tried, and we couldn't stop him. You know how we can stop him? We can get control, repeal the filibuster, and do whatever the hell we want. And we may wind up with Puerto Rico being a state, and we may wind up with Washington, D.C. being a state. So if this is the case, maybe that's what it takes to repeal right now and add Alberta, Canada as a state. Because real stuff is happening in Alberta. Not saying it's going to happen, not giving you a guarantee. They've got the signatures, they've got the politicians, and they've got the lawyers. And they're heading all the way to the top of the Canadian government. The people of Alberta want out. The majority of them want to join the United States. They are conservative through and through. They're loaded with oil and gas. They have a very Midwestern sensibility to them. Think of the upper Midwest. Think of Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, the Dakotas. These are those people. This is who they are. They have more in common with somebody from Montana than Montreal. I can promise you that. They're not French speaking. It's not their game. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is the Wild West. We haven't added a state in a long, long time. It's impossible to believe we're stopping at 50. And yes, democracy's ugly. Maybe at some point it benefits the Democrats and they add Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. But I think that Trump's not saying it, but I think this might be part of it too. It's like we can just go ahead and see if we can get this thing done and add some statehood. Because the fear, of course, is if you take the filibuster away, that somehow the Democrats will get that done and they'll swing the Senate forever in their favor. Quite an interview. If you haven't seen it, it's long. It's 73 minutes long. They didn't show that much, obviously, but it was really good and it was calculated. Good stuff. All right, we come back. We'll check in with Mark a little bit on what happened with his beloved Chiefs yesterday. He was convinced they were going to win. We had a disagreement on that. That's okay. That happens. And some other things. Did anybody hear Chris Collinsworth last night? When they showed the shot of the U.S. Capitol, what he said on Sunday Night Football? We got that for you next on KCMO. Welcome back to Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio. Vince Show coming up shortly. Stick around for that. Mark Van Sickle had a fun weekend. Took the kids trick-or-treating, watched the World Series end in dramatic fashion. 26 million people watched the World Series Saturday. That's got to be a record for many, many years for Major League Baseball. Stunning finish to the World Series.
High drama. Love it.
It was insane. Will Smith hit a home run in the 11th inning to take the lead for the Dodgers. He has won 6 World Series in a row.
It's crazy.
Started with the Dodgers. It was like Braves, Rangers, Astros, Dodgers, or something like that.
Yeah, he keeps getting traded around.
Unbelievable. 6 straight World Series rings for Will Smith. The Blue Jays outscored him 34-26 in the World Series and still lost. And it was it's too complicated and hard to explain if you didn't see it. It was the greatest Game 7 ever, I think. Ratings reflect that. When something great is happening, people watch, right?
Yeah.
Chiefs-Bills game yesterday was wildly entertaining for a lot of people, especially around the country, because they hate the Chiefs.
Yeah. Chiefs were getting all the calls yesterday.
When it started, when you started watching it, at what point did you think, wow, the Chiefs aren't winning today?
It was probably about halftime when they didn't get in the end zone. And they kicked that field goal. They were at the 1-yard line with first down, and not good.
A tiny little criticism. This is tiny. You got to throw a pass on that first play there on the goal line. If you throw it away, the clock stops. It changes, and then you still have everything in your arsenal. You still have your timeout. You can still run. You take your time. You might have scored a touchdown on a pass play, but if nothing else, you throw it in the seats and figure out your next 2 plays. I felt like they were kind of hurrying up there, and it was a little disheveled. Of course, if he just walks right in, we're like, oh, yeah, play fast, go. But I was screaming for a pass play. Throw it here, throw it here, throw it here. And then, so I wanted to save that timeout. So I felt like that hurt a little bit. They got to win. Probably got to go 6-2 to be 100% in, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
11 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Schedule gets easier. There are what I believe are 4 automatic wins, which means the games with 2 with Denver, 1 with the Colts, 1 with the Chargers, they got to go 2-2.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound that hard that way, does it? But they have to have no slip-ups in the other 4.
Yeah.
You think that's trouble for this team?
See, they should beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Of course.
But maybe a slip-up there.
Cowboys defense.
I know. That's the thing. They should dominate that game.
Holy smokes, is the Cowboys. The Colts didn't look good yesterday at all.
Yeah.
Either. So that's changed a little bit.
Hopefully.
That's in 3 weeks at Arrowhead Stadium.
If they don't beat Denver, then the division's probably going to be tough to win. They'll have to look at the wild card, I think, if they lose to Denver.
Yeah, you know what? I'm forgetting the division for now. Let's get in the playoffs.
Okay.
If they win the division, great.
Yeah.
They'd have to win all 3. They got to beat Denver twice and the Chargers. Mm-hmm. If they do that, they're back in that.
Yep.
But I don't think we're looking at that right. I'm not looking at that right now. They got to make sure they don't screw up. This team's good enough, just get in. I said on my podcast earlier today, what if the Chiefs finish 3rd and went on a playoff roll like they do out there playing on the road?
Yeah.
And next year they come back with a 3rd-place schedule.
That would be fun.
I mean, seriously. The NFL has thrown a meat grinder at the Chiefs.
Yep.
This one this year is the worst of all of them, no doubt. Jacksonville is a problem for the Chiefs because Jacksonville holds a tiebreaker over Kansas City. Their kicker yesterday, Cam Little, hit a 68-yard field goal, immediately went to Twitter afterwards and said he got a notice to go pee in a cup. It was a joke.
Yeah.
I think it might have been some sort of parody account. But they're going to... Do you think the balls have changed? Do you think they're kicking? What do you think's happened? How are they hitting 68-yard field goals?
That is a good question. I hadn't thought about the ball angle, but maybe the kicking balls are different now.
Maybe there's a little helium in them?
Maybe.
I'm not sure I know, but I find it absolutely amazing that, I mean, it was good from 72.
He made one from 70 in preseason.
Yeah.
So this guy's good.
There was at least 4 more yards on this one, and it was 68. Cam Little for the Jaguars. Harrison Butker, amazingly, was like the best kicker in the NFL for several years. He's like number 15 now. I mean, it's unbelievable what happens in sports. Young athletes are the best. We know that. Hey, if an hour's not enough, go to kkhasissues.com and hit the play button. There's an hour more right there. Have a great day. The Vince Show's coming up next.